child abuse remains a serious violation of children's rights and a major public health and social problem worldwide. It undermines children's physical health, emotional well-being, and future life chances, and it places a heavy burden on families, communities, and national development. International organizations such as the World Health Organization, WHO, and UNICEF classify child abuse as a form of violence that can have lifelong negative effects on physical, psychological, and social functioning. In Jamaica, the issue is addressed within a specific legal and institutional framework, particularly the Child Care and Protection Act, CCPA, of 2004, which outlines the duty to report and structures the formal response to children in need of care and protection. This paper defines child abuse, explains the roles of key Jamaican agencies, namely the Child Development Agency (CDA), the Office of the Children's Advocate (OCA), the Center for the Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse (CISOCA), the Office of the Children's Registry (OCR), and the Child Protection and Family Services Agency (CPFSA), and discusses the implications of failing to report cases of child abuse. Child abuse, often referred to more broadly as child maltreatment, is generally defined as any act or failure to act by a parent, caregiver, or other person in a position of responsibility, trust, or power that results in actual or potential harm to a child's health, survival, development, or dignity. The WHO describes child maltreatment as physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, as well as neglect and exploitation, occurring in the context of a relationship of responsibility, trust, or power, and emphasizes that such acts can cause or are likely to cause harm to the child's health, development, or dignity. Child abuse is usually categorized into four main types: physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional or psychological abuse, and neglect. Physical abuse includes acts such as hitting, beating, burning, or otherwise physically injuring a child. Sexual abuse includes any sexual activity with a child, including exploitation through pornography or prostitution. Emotional abuse involves persistent behaviors such as humiliation, threats, rejection, or exposure to domestic violence that harm a child's self-worth or emotional development. Neglect is the persistent failure to meet a child's basic physical or emotional needs, such as food, shelter, medical care, education, and emotional support. International child protection organizations highlight that child abuse is both an act of commission, abuse, and an act of omission, neglect, and that its impacts often extend into adulthood, contributing to mental disorders, substance abuse, risky behaviors, and chronic illnesses.
In the Jamaican context, the CCPA identifies circumstances in which a child is considered in need of care and protection and criminalizes cruelty to children, thereby providing legal backing to the broad international definitions of child abuse. Overview of key child protection agencies in Jamaica. Child Development Agency (CDA). The Child Development Agency (CDA) was established in 2004 as part of the implementation of the Child Care and Protection Act. It emerged from the merger of the Children's Services Division, the Adoption Board, and the Child Support Unit, and was charged with executing the mandate of the CCPA. The CDA's functions included providing care and protection for children at risk, managing children's homes and places of safety, supervising foster care, and supporting family services. In November 2017, the CDA was merged with the Office of the Children's Registry, OCR, to form the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA. Although it no longer exists as a separate entity, understanding the CDA's former role helps to explain how Jamaica's child protection system evolved. The current CPFSA inherited and expanded the functions of the CDA, continuing to provide care and protection for Jamaican children at risk and overseeing family services. The Office of the Children's Advocate, OCA, is a commission of Parliament created under the Child Care and Protection Act with a mandate to protect and enforce the rights and best interests of children in Jamaica. Its core responsibilities include keeping under review the adequacy and effectiveness of laws and practices affecting children's rights and welfare. The OCA also reviews the quality of services provided for children by relevant authorities. The Children's Advocate is also empowered to intervene in court and tribunal proceedings involving issues of law or practice concerning children's rights. The OCA therefore functions as an independent watchdog and advocate. The Center for the Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse, CISOCA, is a specialized unit of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, established in 1989 to investigate sexual crimes and child abuse. Its main functions include creating a supportive environment that encourages victims of sexual offenses and child abuse to report incidents. CISOCA conducts efficient and effective investigations into reported sexual offenses and cases of child abuse, working to protect vulnerable children and provide justice in Jamaica.
Under the Child Care and Protection Act, there is a legal duty to report when a person knows or has reasonable grounds to suspect that a child is in need of care and protection. For example, where a child is abandoned, neglected, or subjected to physical or sexual ill treatment. The Act creates a mandatory obligation for certain categories of persons, such as teachers, health professionals, and others, to report suspected abuse or risk of abuse to the appropriate authorities. Failure to report may constitute a criminal offense and can result in legal sanctions, depending on circumstances and professional obligations. From a child rights perspective, the most serious implication of not reporting abuse is that the child remains in a harmful environment, with their safety and development at continued risk. International research shows that unreported and unaddressed abuse is linked to long-term physical and mental health problems. These problems can include injuries, chronic diseases, depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, substance abuse, and a greater chance of engaging in risky behaviors. In Jamaica, failure to report means agencies like CPFSA and CISOCA cannot act to remove the child from danger or hold perpetrators accountable. For professionals who work with children, teachers, counselors, health workers, social workers, and religious leaders, there are ethical implications. Codes of ethics require practitioners to act in the child's best interest and take steps to prevent harm. Failing to report suspected abuse may breach professional standards. Failing to report suspected abuse can result in disciplinary action by professional bodies or employers. It can also damage public trust in institutions that are expected to safeguard children, such as schools, healthcare facilities, and community organizations. At a broader level, underreporting of child abuse contributes to a culture of silence that normalizes violence and weakens the child protection system. When incidents go unreported, official statistics underestimate the true prevalence of abuse, making it harder to allocate resources and create effective programs. As a result, cycles of violence, poverty, and social exclusion may persist across generations, undermining national development goals and Jamaica's commitments under international instruments such as the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNCRC.